Jin BTS receives a heartfelt and symbolic painting from Kian84 on Kian's bizarre BNB, sparking emotional reactions from fans worldwide. The artwork, loaded with meaning, reveals a deeper friendship than fans ever knew. In a surprising and heartwarming turn of events, Jin BTS has once again captured the attention and the hearts of fans worldwide, this time through a deeply personal interaction with renowned Korean artist and television personality Kian84, following Jin's emotional appearance on the latest episode of Kian's Bizarre BNB, where his down-to-earth charisma and reflective nature melted hearts. The episode concluded with a gesture no one saw coming. As the cameras panned out, Kian84 quietly unveiled a stunning, hand-painted piece of art, a cosmic, surreal depiction of two intertwined figures floating through a celestial sea, awash in emotion and dreamlike resonance. The artwork, now confirmed to be a personal gift to Jin, wasn't just visually striking, it was emotionally loaded. According to a post by @KpopChartNet on X, formerly Twitter, the piece represents eternal connection and emotional rebirth, and Kian84 reportedly spent months creating it after a late-night conversation with Jin that deeply moved him. Yes, they've known each other far longer than fans suspected, and the viral moment that has now reached over 7 million views on social media. Kian84 presents the artwork with a soft but meaningful comment. "I made this when I thought about how people survive. Heartbreak by floating together in silence. You reminded me of that." Jin, visibly touched, pauses for a moment, then smiles with that familiar mix of restraint and warmth armies know too well. He runs his fingers lightly across the canvas before replying, "Thank you. It feels like you painted something I didn't know I needed." Fans were quick to react, many pointing out how the artwork eerily echoes Jin's emotional performances, especially his Coldplay stage and the stripped-down version of The Astronaut. Armies called it a visual version of his soul, and the kind of gift that only a friend who truly understands you would give. What makes this even more meaningful is the history behind the connection. Though it's only now coming to light, industry insiders revealed that Jin and Kian84 first met 3 years ago at a private charity dinner involving artists and entertainers. The two reportedly bonded over shared introversion, pressure of public expectations, and a love for emotionally driven art. Since then, their friendship had stayed low-key, until now, in the episode, viewers saw glimpses of their candid conversations, including a touching moment where Jin admitted, "Sometimes it's hard to know if people see the real me. I feel like I'm always performing, even when I'm not on stage." To which Kian84 responded, almost prophetically, "Maybe that's why people like you. They can feel you're carrying something, even when you're smiling." That exchange, combined with the emotionally symbolic gift, has left fans emotionally raw. One fan wrote on Weverse, "That painting isn't just art, it's a message." From Kian84, from Jin, and maybe even from all of us who have ever loved and let go. Others praised the production team for not exploiting the moment, but letting it unfold naturally, without over-editing or background music. The silence between words, the pauses in Jin's expressions, it all felt real. And for Jin, whose military enlistment has placed him largely out of the public eye, this was more than a TV appearance. It was a reintroduction, not as an idol, but as a person. HYB has yet to comment on the episode, though insiders say the agency was moved to tears watching the final CUT. As of today, the original painting gifted by Kian84 now hangs in Jin's personal collection, reportedly installed in the private studio where he writes and reflects during leave. And while it may never be displayed in a gallery or auctioned to the public, fans say it has already taken a permanent place in BTS history, because it wasn't just a painting, it was an understanding, framed in silence, and delivered with love. What began as a tender moment between two creatives has now rippled into a global movement of artistic reflection. Within hours after the episode aired, the artwork Kian84 gifted Jin became one of the most discussed pieces of contemporary Korean art on social media. Fans and art critics alike were quick to point out the technical brilliance of the piece, the fluid anatomy, the almost cosmic texture of the intertwined figures, and the hypnotic background that resembled both water and sky. A piece that, to the untrained eye, might simply appear surreal quickly became a mirror of emotion for millions. Experts in visual symbolism weighed in online, suggesting that the two figures, glowing in deep indigo and violet tones, represent not just connection, but emotional surrender between souls who no longer need words. The fluid lines of the bodies, set against an ever-shifting background of blue, seemed to ask a question that Jin himself posed earlier in the episode. Is there a way to stay close, even if you've drifted far? Fans believe the answer is this painting. The explosion of fan-created content in response to the artwork only intensified its cultural impact. Within just 48 hours, Twitter and Instagram were flooded with tributes. Thousands of armies began creating their own interpretations, digital fan art, poetry, musical renditions of the astronaut, and even tattoo designs inspired by the glowing hands and crossed legs of the figures in the painting. One fan from Argentina wrote, "That painting feels like everything I've never been able to say to Jin. It's comfort. It's closure. It's a conversation without words." Another from Thailand posted a 60-second piano piece titled Floating Together, based entirely on the emotional energy the painting gave her. Meanwhile, a Japanese fan translation group transcribed every spoken and unspoken moment between Jin and Kian84 during the episode, turning it into a mini-documentary called The Artist and the Astronaut, now subtitled in 11 languages and counting. And just as the momentum reached fever pitch, Kian84 broke his own silence in a heartfelt post on his personal blog. The artist revealed, "Jin didn't ask for anything. He didn't want anything fancy. He just sat with me once, late at night, and said something I can't forget. I just hope people can feel me, even when I'm quiet." That sentence never left me. I made this piece for him, before he even knew it, because people like him don't need to shout to be remembered. That post alone was shared over 300,000 times within a single day. Fans responded with overwhelming gratitude, not just for the painting, but for the quiet care that surrounded its creation. In an industry often driven by speed, visibility, and perfection, Kian84's act reminded fans what BTS had always stood for: truth, feeling, and connection. Meanwhile, Korean entertainment insiders are now speculating whether this could spark a larger creative collaboration between Kian84 and Jin. Talks of a limited gallery exhibition featuring art pieces inspired by BTS's discography have started to circulate on forums and Discord communities. Some are even hoping for a coffee table art book with commentary from Jin himself, perhaps his reflections during service, framed through the lens of visual storytelling. While nothing has been confirmed officially, the sheer scale of fan demand makes it a very real possibility. But perhaps the most powerful effect of this moment wasn't professional or promotional, it was personal. Because in this single gesture, a painting, a conversation, and a shared moment of silence, fans around the world felt closer to Jin than they had in months. Not through choreography, not through an album release, but through humanity. And in a time when fans are still reeling from his sudden exit after the Coldplay concert, when questions still linger about his public absence and HYB's ongoing silence, this unexpected reunion, framed in brushstrokes and emotion, felt like a healing balm. An fancy music video, an carefully curated comeback. Just a man, a painting, and a truth too quiet for words.